Well, we're underneath the hood of our 1970 Mustang Mach 1 Super Cobra Jet 428. This is the real deal, not a clone, not a tribute car. This is the real deal. It is a 428 Super Cobra Jet with the Marty report. This particular car has the correct valve pan covers, finned aluminum, of course, for 1970. Correct intake system with the downspout and the snorkel on the air cleaner, which most people took and threw away. It even has the original smog system still intact, the air induction system still intact on this vehicle. Autolite original equipment style battery in it. It has power steering, power brakes, and this particular car, the owner had it installed with an entire complete factory air conditioning system. 428 Cobra Jets, Super Cobra Jets were never offered with an air conditioning system from the factory. This particular car has it. It looks like it came from the factory from Ford Motor Company. Everything is intact on it. Has the original standard equipment, intake manifold and exhaust manifolds on this, cast iron the way they were from the factory. It does have a Holley 735 carburetor on it. Again, this car is even more unique because of the features. It is a Super Cobra Jet, but it's also a drag pack Super Cobra Jet car. So it has a remote mounted oil filter on the driver's side inner fender panel here. It also has the oil cooler in front of the air conditioning condenser, which is in front of the radiator, for a Super Cobra Jet drag pack car. Everything's still intact, just the way it was when it left the factory. This car is an original underneath the hood as you could possibly find a 1970 Mustang. The correct vent-like louvers on the shaker hood, the correct intake, the correct tubes, the correct mounts, the correct everything on this car. This engine compartment is exactly the way it left the factory in 1970, including the original Ford buck tag still intact. We're going to go around the rest of the car, see what we can show you, but this is a very, very unique vehicle, high horsepower car, and just a rarity in the fact that it's a Super Cobra Jet with a drag pack. And today we're going to present to you a really, really special car. It's a 1970 Mach 1 Super Cobra Jet drag pack car. We're going to go over the aesthetics on the outside of this car and point out whatever defects we can find. Hopefully we won't miss any. Try to represent these cars as factually and as thorough as we possibly can. So we're going to go over it, you and I together, and find out any defects that there are. And everything that I see, I will point out to you. So let's get started. 1/8 of an inch gap the whole way around the hood. Fitment of the hood is just spot on. You could not get it any better. The paint on this car is just absolutely show quality. There's no orange peel, no defects, no dirt, no fading, no nothing in it. The correct style hood locks for the 1970 model year that they used on the Mach 1s. Semi-flat black striping with the correct detail on the shaker hood, 428 designation, plus the Cobra Jet designation on the side of the shaker hood. Argent grill area is absolutely as new as it could possibly be. Everything around the headlights is as new and crisp as you'd ever want to find. Plastic grill just as nice as you'd ever want to find with the Argent tips on it the way it should be. Filler panel is same color of the car the way it absolutely was when it left the factory. Bumper fitment. There's absolutely no way that you can get that bumper to fit any nicer, any more precise than it is at this point. Chrome on it is 1 foot deep. There are no scuffs, no marks, no indication of any wear marks or anything on the bumper. No dents. Valance underneath the bumper, no marks or no pulls on it. Of course, your Super Cobra Jet style Mach 1 spoiler underneath it. The front end of this car is as precise and as original as it was in 1970. It just is an absolutely gorgeous paint job on it Of course, the paint is much better at this point than it ever was in 1970. They did not have paint like this back then. The fitment is gorgeous. The paint, the fit, the finish, everything on this car is just top shelf. Let's do the side and see what we can find for you there. Okay, down the driver's side of our Super Cobra Jet car. Rolled up fenders the way they were in 1970. Paint on this car is just out of this world. I really couldn't over-describe how nice the paint, fit, finish, everything on this car is. Side marker lamp in the front, of course, you know, no marks or deterioration whatsoever. You cannot feel a difference from the door to the front fender on this car, or the hood, or the cowl area. This is all like one. If you close your eyes, you can't really feel a difference from any of it. That's how precise the fit is on this particular car. Correct wiper arms and correct blades for the car. Tinted windshield. Trim around the window. Absolutely no marks, no dings, no flaws whatsoever. Original VIN tag still intact and in place. Dashboard where it transitions to the base of the windshield, just as clean and clear as you'd ever want to have. Little tiny bit of dust down in the corner. I think if you sneeze on it, it's gone. Really, really a nice car. Correct style dual sport mirrors on it. Of course, the roof is just like a sheet of glass. There's not one little tiny imperfection anywhere on the roof of this car. Drip rail mold. A little tiny mark here. No idea what it is. You have to really look at it at an angle with a reflection to find it, but there is a little tiny bit of a mark there. Window wipes, whiskers, absolutely as new as could possibly be. Sail panel on this car is just flawless. There's no marks at all on it, none. Chrome around the rear window frames, just absolutely spotless. Door handles the same way, as fresh as could possibly be. There's not a single flaw, not a mark, not a chip, not a dent, nothing on this car anywhere. Again, look at the fitment of this. Look at the gap on the doors, which you can see from the video that Devin's doing. Look at the alignment of the molding down the sides of this car. The rocker panel and door molding, everything is lined up as precise as you could possibly do. Of course, the rear slats were an option on the Mustang and also show on the Marty report, which this car does have. Rear side marker lights the same as the front. There's absolutely nothing. Of course, BFGs, bigger ones in the back than in the front, but they're on the Magnum 500s, Kelsey wheels, 15-inch. Just a beautiful set of wheels and tires that really accentuate the sides of this vehicle. Would have been an option from the factory. Just a fantastic car. Down the driver's side, I can't see a flaw, a deviation, a ding, a mark, a chip, absolutely nothing. Let's see what's out back. Okay, back end of our Mach 1 SCJ car. Again, you can see the fitment of this rear deck. 1/8 of an inch the whole way around. There's absolutely no deviation whatsoever the whole way around. The fitment of this car is just, it's an anomaly. You just don't find cars that have this type of fitment. This particular one does. Does have the rear spoiler on it in the semi-flat the way it should be, and of course your Mach 1 striping across the back, Mach 1 designation. Oh my, all the trim around the tail lights, the black, or the back argent filler panel. There's absolutely no pits, nothing whatsoever. Nothing around those tail light assemblies. Of course your Mustang quick release gas cap on it. Bumper fitment. Just as a front, it could not be any more spot on than it is. That is just as precise a fitting bumper as you can possibly find. The correct oval exhaust tips out the back. No pulls on the rear valance. Nice clear and perfectly chromed backup lights. This car is so precise so far. The front, the sides, and the back. Move to the other side, but I doubt if we're going to find much over there either. But let's see what we can find. Okay, passenger side of our SCJ car. Again, the paint, you can't see the quality of the paint in this video, but I am telling you the quality of this paint is absolutely as nice as show quality paint as you could possibly find. I don't see any fading in it, I don't see any deviations in it, no marks, no dings, no chips, absolutely nothing. Side marker light in the back, just as nice as can be. Forgot to mention, I saw the car underneath, it's all tin everywhere. Nothing's ever been mudded in or bonded in any way. Again, door fitment, look at this, and the alignment of the side fascia that they have there. Even the fitment of this rear slat is just as precise as you could possibly find. All the trim around the rear window, both sides, is as nice as can possibly be. Not a single mark. Windows wipes, nice resilient rubber, all new on both sides. I neglected to mention that side. This is all new rubber and it's all nice and resilient. Door handle. You know what? There's a couple little tiny, I'm going to say that they're both original door handles, but there's a little tiny bit of patina on the chrome here. Would not replace it, wouldn't even consider it. Of course, your right-hand mirror. Finish on this car is like glass. I mean, I feel like I can't even feel anything with my hand. A little tiny bit of a ding right here. It might have been a door dent or something through the years on this side fascia. Again, Mustang on the side. Fitment of the front fender to the door. Correct Ford antenna. Look at this fitment on this car. This is totally, totally out of this world. Rolled fender lip. Side marker lamp. I can't find a single mark, a dent, a deviation, a couple little pieces in the trim. One on that drip rail over here, one on this side here that you can see. I think you'll see it in one of Devon's still pictures. Correct style wheels on it, Kelsey Hayes Magnum 500s. The correct color paint, everything is correct about this car. It is a Super Cobra Jet car. It started life that way. It does have a Marty report. It does have a lot of documentation with it. It is not the engine that this car was born with. It is not a numbers correct 428 Super Cobra Jet. It is a Cobra Jet. It presents itself that way. We have documentation for the car. It's also, by the way, an actual miles car, and I believe it was 62 or 63,000 miles on the title, which is actual, and it states it as actual miles. Car obviously has been completely restored. It never was a rot bucket from what we can tell. You know, the car always had a lot of structural integrity to it prior to the restoration. But the car is not going to be a $90,000 or $100,000 car because it is not numbers matching. But it's every bit as good a car as it was in 1970 when it left the factory. It does have better paint on it now. It does have some better tires. It does have some amenity to it. But the car is just an over-the-top car. You really should take a look at this car. It's a real collectible piece of muscle car history. So take a look at it. It's on your Hankster's website, Daytona Beach, Florida. Okay, we're inside of our 1970 Mach 1 Super Cobra Jet, Ivy Green Mustang. Headliner, absolutely as tight as a drum. Original headrest, yeah. Original sun visors just as they were from the factory. All the trim, all the accentuated pieces around the windows and headliner just as sweet and nice as can be. The interior lights all appear to be functioning, even in the back. The back seats, the side panels in the back, all original Ford. It does have rear seat belts and front seat belts also, by the way, and Mustang original equipment style front and rear factory floor mats. Again, this car did not come, nor was it ever offered with air conditioning, but This particular one had it retrofitted, had it installed. It does have the correct vents out of the dash from Ford. Gauges are all nice and clean and clear as can possibly be. The steering wheel has no brakes in it. It is a wood style rim blow type steering wheel in it. All the panels on the front panels on the doors, the wood accents on them are just as fresh and clean as can be, the same as they are on the dash and on the passenger side, which encompasses the clock in this particular vehicle. Nice soft tri-spoke steering wheel. Console car does have an aftermarket radio in it. It does have an AM/FM aftermarket radio in it. However, we do have in the back end of this car, with all the documentation and a slew of paperwork we have with this car, we do have the original 8-track player radio that came with this car in 1970. And check this out. 4-speed with the Hurst T-handle on it. Fantastic car. All the trim around the clutch and brake and emergency brake cables just as fresh as clean as can possibly be. Console has no cracks or deterioration on any of the chrome or trim. Check this out. Just opened this glove box. How about the original Ford owner's manual and the high performance supplement that comes with it from Ford? They got both of them in the glove compartment yet from 1970. On top of all the barrage of paperwork that we have for the rest of this car. Again, front seats just as clean and crisp as can be. I don't see a single thing on this car, exterior, under the engine, compartment, or interior-wise, that someone could even point a finger at. There's absolutely nothing. It's as new as it was in every aspect from 1970. You've got to take a look at this one. We have temperature gauge that is coming up. Speedometer was just working a second ago. Tachometer that is definitely still working. You can see it. It's working fine. Fuel gauge, and we got a little over half a tank. Let's see if we got wipers that work. What is that? Oh, that's my lights. Try this. That might be better. Wipers that do function as they should. Have a horn that definitely works. Turn signals left, functioning. Turn signal right, functioning. We have air conditioning that I know functions. And the fan motor also works. Alright, let's see if we can go for a ride. We have a radio that actually works, but we do have the original AM/FM that belongs in this car. We do have it. So car goes down the road straight as an arrow, no hands on the wheel. Let's see what it does with brakes, no hands on the wheel. Brakes, no hands on the wheel. Almost stopped here completely. Back in a second. Nice running CJ car. Just think a little juice here, see how it runs. goes straight as an arrow. Look at this. No hands. Just as nice and sweet as could possibly be. Again, no hands. Put brakes on. No issues. Nice straight running car. Hi, you're at Hanksters, and we're underneath our 1970 Ford Mustang Mach 1. This particular car started life and is a 428 Super Cobra jet with a drag pack. Very, very special car here. So we're going to go over, starting in the front and heading toward the back. It has new bushings for the sway bar assembly, which is a heavy-duty sway bar. These particular ones have a Zerk fitting for greasing them. A nice addition. It does have the standard exhaust manifolds on it, cast iron. Disc brakes in the front, absolutely like new rotors. The backing plates are all fresh looking. Calipers are nice also. It does have power steering. Here's your power steering hoses and power steering assembly. You can see that the engine itself, a little tiny bit of a ding in the oil pan there, either pulling it on or off a rack, but certainly nothing to compromise any of the volume of this oil pan. No leaks whatsoever on the pan itself. This car, being a Super Cobra jet car, has a remote oil filter, so it'll be up on top. We'll show you that on the engine presentation. Top loader, 4-speed transmission, heavy duty. New idler arm on it. Tie rod ends are all new and in excellent shape. The ball joints in the bottom, from what I can see, are all absolutely like new. New shock absorbers on the car. Really a great looking setup here. Someone spent a lot of effort, a lot of time to put this together to this degree. 2 1/8 inch primary pipes coming off the cast iron exhaust manifolds. You can see all the pinch welds still evident on the front torque boxes. No attempt through the years to jack it up on these or on the drop-down skirts in the fender well area. They're all nice and intact the way they should be. Subframes on the vehicle are nice, absolutely undeteriorated in any way, just as nice as you would ever find. It does have, from what I can see, it's got the original floor pans in it. I don't see anywhere it's been replaced. Pinch welds on the sides of the floor pans where they transition onto the rocker panels. Again, the subframe on this side the same way. There's no jack marks on it. A little tiny one there. A little tiny one. And again, the 2 1/8 inch pipe with the correct style Ford crossover pipe that they put on these vehicles. Hurst shifter, of course, with this particular vehicle. No leaks whatsoever in the bell housing area, transmission, or the tail shaft. You can see this is all dry. The car is just as nice and leak-free as you could possibly hope to find one. It does have the original functional parking brake assembly still intact and functional. The fuel line is the original fuel line, still going forward. No issues with it. Brake line's the same way. Tell you what, I can't see anything whatsoever on the front of this. New universal joint on the drive shaft. Also one in the rear of it. I can see that from here. Floor pans, again, totally undisrupted front part of them. You can see this is all just as nice as can be. All your substructure pieces are in the floor pans. No one's made any attempt to jack it up through the years on these floor pans and bend them or distort them in any way. Has all the rubber plugs in them where they belong, still intact. Nice car. We're halfway through it, and I really can't see anything detrimental on it so far. Again, no leaks on the drive line whatsoever that I can see at this point. Okay, we're working on our second half of our SCJ Mustang. Under chassis mufflers just the way it would have been from Ford. Torque boxes in the front part of the spring area, totally again, undisrupted just like the front, but this is all just as nicely boxed as it should be originally from the factory. A couple little tiny jack marks on the subframe on this side. I don't see anything on this side at all. Nice arch yet to the rear leaf springs on this vehicle. We're going to call those 2 1/8. I'm going to call these 2-inch pipes transitioning out of the under chassis mufflers. Real nice setup that they put on these vehicles. It does have a 9-inch Detroit locker rear end in this vehicle. It is a Detroit locker for sure. It does have drum brakes in the rear, discs in the front, new shocks in the rear. Like I say, the springs have a real nice arch to them, very, very nice arch to them yet. Original gas tank, original lines coming out of it. There's a lot of originality to this car, a heck of a lot of originality. Drop downs in the quarter panels are still original and nice as could possibly be. Trunk area the same way. The floor pan trunk area where it transitions over the rear axle, all original and nice as could possibly be. It's really a nice looking car and a lot of originality under here, guys. Exhaust goes into the correct flat oval style tips that transition out the back of the Valance. I can't see anything wrong. I mean, absolutely nothing wrong. 9-inch nodular Detroit locker, no leaks. Subframes, as you can see, are just as nice and undisrupted as could possibly be. Correct style exhaust system on the vehicle for 1970. Torque boxes on the rear here are just as sweet as you'd ever want to find. Very, very clean, unrusted, undisrupted undercarriage on this vehicle. Very, very difficult to find, especially in a car that probably spent a lot of his time on the drag strip. This thing was a Super Cobra Jet with a drag pack. They didn't order it just to drive around town. Nice looking car. Take a look at it on your hangsters.